So here's a question that I get all of the time. Should I buy SkyTrak or should I buy Flightscope Mevo Plus? Well, I'm here to get you that answer today. Hey everyone, welcome back to Golf Simulator Videos. We're back today with a video that is actually really highly demanded by a lot of viewers, and it's a decision between SkyTrak and Flightscope Mevo Plus. I have people reach out all of the time. They're trying to build their first home golf simulator, okay? And they're between these two units because they both have a price range of $2,000, okay? So just understand that we're doing this comparison because these are the two most competitive in their price space, all right? The two most highest volume units in that price space, but they're so different. And you really have to understand what one is right for you. And there's several things we're going to talk about here that I tried to lay out so you guys can better understand them and how they operate differently. And so you can make the best choice if you're going to purchase SkyTrak or purchase Flightscope Mevo Plus. Now, before I get started, I want to let you guys know that I have partners for both of these units. I want to make sure everybody gets the best price and information and deals with a trusted partner. So I've lined all of that up. You can actually email me. I pin it to the top of the comments in the description, and I'll connect you with my partners. I never try to push one unit over the other. I want to make sure you get the one that's going to work best for you. And so let's go over that list and so you can understand it. Now, environment and budget. Let's go ahead and start with those two. I actually talk about those no matter what launch monitor people are looking at. All right. Environment is very important when you're talking about these two units. So SkyTrak's photometric based. That means it's actually taking pictures of the ball, and it does that in a very short range. It's actually less than 2 feet. Okay. It actually sits on the side. And then the Flightscope Mevo Plus is radar based, okay? So it actually reads the ball flying, and that's up to 12 feet in the short indoor mode. So you have to understand that this unit, especially the Flightscope Mevo Plus, may not work in your environment, okay? Because you have to have a certain distance. Where the SkyTrak has a benefit as far as environment goes, it can basically work in an environment where you can clear a golf club as long as it's safe to where you're not going to have a ball ricochet back at you. I tell people that all the time. Listen, safety is important. Don't set your screen up to a scary distance where a ball could fly back at you. But understand that, yes, it will operate in a very short distance. They make screens that absorb balls, whether you're hitting into a net maybe or anything like that. It can work in a very short environment. Basically, like I said, if you can clear a golf club, this thing's going to work. All right? Flightscope Mevo Plus, I've tested it myself, 7 feet unit to ball, with 10 feet of ball flight, and it works well for me. Now, the OEM actually states 8 feet unit to the ball and 8 feet minimum of ball flight, but I've heard quite a few of my viewers make a statement that they actually needed 12 feet of ball flight once they get into higher ball speeds for a better accuracy. But the unit sounds like it's working fine with the 8 feet and 8 feet, but just understand that for that higher accuracy and higher ball speeds, that you may need 12 feet of ball flight, depending on if you're getting in that 150, 160 mile per hour ball speed. Now, they've had a lot of firmware updates along the way. It may work just fine at 8 feet and 8 feet here eventually, so just understand that. The most important thing as far as environment goes with this radar-based unit is that there can be interference, and I've actually had to help a lot of people with that. You can't have loud fans, fluorescent lights can't be on, heavy metal objects and things like that. If you have what they call a dirty environment like that, you're really going to have to clean it up in order to get this unit to operate properly. Versus the SkyTrak being that photometric system really doesn't have any interference. Now the difference there would be is that this unit outdoor actually can get sunlight interference and actually can have a tough time reading the ball in grass, versus the Flightscope Mevo Plus actually is going to shine outdoor because it can actually read the ball flying in an outdoor mode for a significant amount of distance, much further past 12 feet. So understand that it could be your environment. Are you going to be taking it outside a lot? It may be Flightscope Mevo Plus that's best for you. So, but as far as your home golf simulator goes, you're going to have proper distance for the Flightscope Mevo Plus. All right. So let's talk really quick about budget. Both units, I think it's $19.99 and $19.95, so pretty much the same price. That is, let's say, $2,000. But the one important thing a lot of people miss on SkyTrak, there's actually a $100 a year, this is optional, game improvement plan. But you need that $100 a year game improvement plan in order to connect to the third-party simulator software that are available out there. All right, so E6, TGC, Creative Golf, those type of software, both of these units work with. You actually have to pay $100 a year in order to connect. And you actually have to purchase that software through SkyTrak. Flightscope Mevo Plus actually comes with a free iOS-based version of E6, and it doesn't have any ongoing $100 a year plan or any type of fee that is going on every year. So understand that. So a little bit of a budget, situation there, a lot of environmental things. I'm not going to be able to cover every single item, guys. If I miss something, you have a question, make sure you put it in the comments below. All right, I'll get to answer every single one. A lot of my viewers, we have over 10,000 subscribers now. They'll actually comment maybe some of their experience, whether they recently bought a unit or have been testing and have some different tips and tricks. But environment is very, very important. Okay, so just understand that. Now here's something that's a little different. Putting. The Flightscope Mevo Plus, because it's reading the ball in a longer distance, well, that actually comes into play for putting. You're going to need a smooth, level, flat surface, okay, for putting in the Flightscope Mevo Plus. Now, they do allow for a setup, and I have an everything you should know about Flightscope Mevo Plus video if you want to check it out. It'll show you kind of how you set up a putting mat offset from where you take full swings, and that can give you a smooth surface to putt on. But it needs 8 feet, and it needs that ball rolling smooth and level. Okay, so understand that. SkyTrak, if you just have a smooth surface that's probably, let's just call it 2 feet, all right, it reads anywhere from like 12 inches to 18 inches or so. It's usually taking up to 2 pictures, okay, but it can literally putt right off of a mat and drop on the ground and be okay because it's just doing that in a short distance. So something to consider. This is going to read that putting for a longer distance. You need to have a smooth surface, so you might have to have a little more investment as far as your setup goes for your simulator. All right, so that's pretty much everything that you need to know as far as environment and budget go. All right, let's talk about placement a little bit. So this unit, as I mentioned, sits on the side, only 12 inches from the ball. Now there can be a good and a bad thing there. All right, so it actually is close to the ball. It doesn't require any special markings on the ball other than they ask you to place the logo facing towards the unit so it can get some contrast in the ball and see some movement. All right, but if, depending on your level of golf or who you're having over, they could shank a ball right into the unit. So some people use a metal jacket that goes over top, a case, and that prevents, any type of damage to the unit. So just understand that. The difficulty of a side unit like this is if you have a lot of right and left-handed golfers, you'd have to move the unit back and forth. Okay, which actually could be, troublesome for a lot of people. The Flightscope Mevo Plus sits right in the center of your target line, and you don't need to move it for right and left-handed players. Okay, so just understand how that works, all right? Now, alignment and setup. So this is interesting. I was actually able to set up SkyTrak quite well, but you have to understand you have to have a level surface, and it has to be aligned. And you have to do that pretty much manually. All right, now I used measuring tape to make sure it was perfectly, square to my target, level to make sure it's level, and I was all good. I did some test chips. That's usually a good way to do it, or test putting to make sure everything flies straight. Flightscope Mevo Plus actually has a built-in camera inside of it, all right, that allows you to align the unit and also actually has a measurement for roll. And you can see that all inside of an app when you're setting it up. So it makes it really nice for precise setup, okay? That camera, believe it or not, actually in one of their apps now can actually do swing recording, all right, and take swing videos. I just don't want to miss that. So we're going to talk about apps and everything here in a minute. Portability. Both of them have a built-in battery and last for a good amount of time. So if you're looking for portability without having the units plugged in, they're both capable of that, especially, obviously the radar unit. A lot of people are looking to use it outside. You can even have a little power bank that you can plug into the micro USB, and it can last for a significant amount of time. So just understand that. All right. SkyTrak, I may want to bring up now, it actually can be plugged in via USB versus Wi-Fi. So the connectivity is a little different. All right. Where Flightscope Mevo Plus, it only connects via Wi-Fi. So if you are looking to have internet for some software that requires it, and you actually are taking up that Wi-Fi adapter on your computer, you may need to buy another Wi-Fi adapter. Buy a nice high-end USB Wi-Fi adapter so you can have internet and connect to your Mevo Plus. All right. A lot of people using cellular devices, iPads and iPhones, they'll connect to internet through that and then Wi-Fi to their Mevo Plus. All right. So just so you understand, little differences there. Let's talk about reliability and warranty. All right, so SkyTrak comes with a 6-month warranty. Flightscope Mevo Plus comes with a 12-month warranty. SkyTrak's been out, I think, now for over 6 years. Been known to be a pretty reliable device. I mean, just understand, everybody, I think, has had maybe some type of occurrence where a unit failed or something broke, whatever it may be, like all electronics, but it has a pretty good track record. Mevo Plus has only been out for just over a year. It's pretty tough. You know, initially they did have a couple trouble things that they had to fix. Seems to be going much smoother now with some firmware updates and different things that they did. You know, obviously it was a COVID time, so supply was tough. So I don't know if we really have a track record yet on this, other than I can tell you that my unit and several people that I know are very happy with them. And I've also talked to a few people that had to replace units. You know, so just understand that I don't think there's enough of a track record to get a good gauge yet. Hopefully we'll get that in the next 12 months. Hopefully COVID gets behind us, okay? When we're recording this, we're still in the pandemic. So obviously it's been a troublesome year, you know, for a lot of different things. So just understand that as far as reliability and warranty goes. Apps and software. All right, we touched on this a little bit, but both of the units are going to have the ability to connect to all the various third-party software, you know, TGC, you know, Creative Golf 3D, E6, all right, all great software. You do need that game improvement package that's $100 a year versus the Flightscope actually just allows you to buy right from a dealer or the software company itself, and it does come with that free iOS version of E6, okay? The PC version has much better graphics, but just understand, hey, it comes with it, okay? So there's a benefit there. They're both gonna come with iOS and Android apps. You have a range app, that's your standard app for SkyTrak, and then for Flightscope Mevo Plus, you're gonna have FS Golf and FS Skills. I've demonstrated those in the channel if you wanna check them out. They're both, you know, releasing enhancements on those apps that come with them. You know, they're really good training apps, fitting apps, whatever you want to call them, okay? So both have those available. And then I did mention iOS and Android as well on both. Data, let's talk about that. They're actually pretty similar as far as data points that are available. All right, Mevo Plus came out and kind of grabbed some people's attention because it's actually delivering angle of attack and spin loft. So just understand that you're getting a little more data from that point. But as far as like ball data goes, let me just list this off really quick. I don't want to miss anything, and excuse me if I do, but ball speed, launch angle, horizontal launch angle, backspin, side spin, carry, roll, total distance, offline amount, apex, flight time, all those different data points they actually provide. So they're very similar, okay? I should bring up at this point in time, the Flightscope Mevo Plus does require a metal dot on the ball for short indoor use, does not require it for outdoor use. And like I said, SkyTrak prefers you to have that logo actually facing towards the unit so it can you know, see some movement from the ball. All right, so I think that covers most of the data points. You know, I know we touched on it just briefly, but you know, as far as outdoor goes, that was my next bullet point. I think I touched on earlier. You know, I haven't tested the Flightscope Mevo Plus significantly outdoor, but when I did, it seemed to be performing quite well. And I just know that some people do have some struggles with SkyTrak. You have to have it in like the shade, and then also it's better to hit off a mat than grass, just because it's trying to read the ball. It can be covered up with, you know, blades of grass or whatever it may be. So let's talk about misses and delay. This was really big. So SkyTrak, depending on how robust your PC is, it's gonna have like a minimum 2-second delay. Could be up to 3 or 4 seconds if you have a slower PC. And you know, it depends on what you've played on before. Some people, they don't mind it at all. If you're building a budget simulator and you're actually gonna look over at a laptop, you don't have a projector, some people don't mind it at all. You hit, you look over, ball takes off, you get to see the whole flight. You know, so it depends. Now, I think Flightscope Mevo Plus definitely caught some people's attention because it's almost instantaneous. I bet you it's less than a half a second or so when you hit the ball, it takes off. So they're sending that data very fast, okay, to the software. All right, so just understand that. Misses, I think they're mixed between both. I think everybody needs to understand when you're talking about the space that these fall in, this $2,000 space, nothing's going to be perfect. I mean, these are budget units that actually both hold great value. There's going to be some misses. I know that people talk about, you know, some higher ball speeds with driver. You know, if you swing really fast driver, you know, SkyTrak can miss those. Well, guess what? Depending on how long a flight you have with a high ball speed with Mevo Plus, even though it's reading them, it very rarely has misses on full shots. It may not have the perfect data. All right. SkyTrak, believe it or not, can miss some putts. It happens. Flightscope Mevo Plus can miss some putts. It happens. You know, and it all depends on, I think, your environment and setup too. I had this working great, and this is actually a brand new unit I purchased, so you're going to see a lot more SkyTrak coming. I wanted to get it back into the channel. I had a loaner unit for a little while, and I needed one permanently in the studio. So just understand, if you want to see something, we have one permanently in the studio now. And then Flightscope Mevo Plus, I think a lot of you have saw my videos and said, man, you have yours performing better than a lot of people. Well, it's because you need that setup. And that's why I talked about Enviroment with this unit. Okay, so I hope this is all of those bullet points that everybody's, trying to understand, when they're saying, hey, they're reaching out to me, what should I buy? Should I buy SkyTrak or should I buy Flightscope Mevo Plus? Well, there are a lot of things to consider. And if I missed anything, please comment below, and that way we can get you the answers. We'll keep this conversation going. I think it's very important, and like I mentioned before, it helps support the channel. If you guys let me refer you to my partner, I really appreciate it. And we keep investing, here in the studio and keep bringing you more and more. So all that is greatly appreciated. And I appreciate you guys watching as always. If for some reason you haven't had a chance to subscribe, please do. We're now over 10,000 subscribers and growing rapidly. Like the video, let me know what you think, and we'll talk to you soon.